Thanks for tuning into SBMG Radio, SBMG Podcast, S. Baker Media Group, Channel 19, Newark, New Jersey, sbakermediagroup.com. I am the voice of the underdogs, broadcasting live from 8 Squad Rebel Radio. Shout out to DJ Diz, Ciroc Boy DJ Diz on the 1 and 2. We have a special guest in the building, Mr. Legendary himself, Daddy-O, out of the original hip-hop band. I got to get used to that because I always say hip-hop group. They are the original hip-hop band, Stetsasonic. Welcome, Mr. Daddy-O.
Thank you.
What's going on? I have a special guest in the building over there also, Mr. Shaquille in the cut. But you know where I want to start? First of all, you have a new project out, From My Hood to You.
Yep.
And just talk about it because I want to get into some songs, like a whole bunch of them, but just let them know what's going on, who you got featured on it, and what's going on with it.
So we, I can't remember the date we released it, but yeah, the new album is called From My Hood to You. We got some cool features on there. I got Pasta News from De La Soul, Bun B, R.A. the Rugged Man. I got a Secret Weapon out of North Carolina, Lena Jackson. I just learned how to, I've been putting out these albums since 2016, but I just learned how to do the feature thing. So what I'm doing is I'm just doing, features with my favorite rappers in the world. Like, I love Bun. Like, on the next album, I got Andre Nicotina. Rappers that I love. And I got De La their deal. I love passing them because they was like little dudes underneath me. Most people don't know De La Soul got their name from a Stetsasonic song, Rock De La Stet. And, because they used to hang out with us in the studio and stuff. So I always love Paz and Dove, the way they rhyme. I always love R.A. because R.A. used to hang out with us at the Latin Quarter. He was like the little dusty white boy in the Latin Quarter. But pound for pound, he a bust search ass.
He a beast. But and also before you go on, also you guys can tune in and listen and catch this broadcast on 8squadrebelradio.com. It's allcityradiotv.com. You can hear it on Chew TV, Ustream, Mixer, Periscope, Instagram, Facebook Live, YouTube, Live 365, TuneIn, Spreaker. That's 8 Squad Rebel Radio outlets, and also you can hear it on S. Baker Media Group platforms. You can listen to it on iHeartRadio app, Spotify, Apple iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Google Play Podcasts, Audio Mac, TuneIn app, SoundCloud, Sonos speaker, digital devices, Amazon Alexa. Enable your radio to say, Alexa, play Mecca Global Podcast, Luminary, Spreaker, Facebook Live, again, Periscope again, Instagram Live, Castbox, FM, Stitcher, and listen and watch on the my blog also, sbakermediagroup.com. And also, let's you know what where I want to also start at. I've recently watched the interview. Shout out to my people's Doggy Diamonds too. He took a clip of my interview when I had you in Do It All Studio in Jersey,
right.
And you said something. You sparked a conversation, a debate, a fight online when you said Jersey has some of the best MCs.
No, that's not what I said.
Elaborate on what you said.
I said that if we had to go per borough who had the best MCs, it would be Jersey. Okay. Even though Jersey is not a borough, it's outside. And I said by the averages, I think Jersey MCs are better. And so Doggy Diamonds has some good points. He brought up Big, he brought up Kane, he brought up Jay-Z. But I'm like, who gonna test Redman? Like, come on. Eminem already said he got his style from Tretch. And then we don't even want to get into Lakim Shabazz and all that. We don't even want to talk about that. Wise, intelligent. It's just, I just feel like by ratio, Jersey has the best MCs, and it's probably because of what they had to do. You know what I mean? They outside of the city. Everybody else is in New York, so they not sure of their acceptance. Jersey, we came out of disco in one way. Jersey came out of disco in another way because they had that whole club scene happening. So they had to really, show and prove basically. And I just felt like every time one of them stepped up, they really stepped up to the plate. In difference to us, because you see highs and lows with a lot of us. You know what I'm saying? Like, even Jay, no disrespect to Jay-Z, but what was that video he did with Babyface? Like, that thing was corny as doodle, right? The thing that Kane did with Barry White, we dipped in and out. Jersey was like, we not doing that because one little mistake, they're going to count us out. You know what I mean? And that's why I think that they came so hard with it. Most people don't even acknowledge the lyrical tenacity of Tretch because of the pop records. Because of Hip Hop Array and OPP, even though OPP is a lyrical monster piece on that record, but most people don't notice it. But if you really get into and Tretch used to come to my house as a little boy. He used to get on the train and come to my house in Brownsville as a little boy. do it all. You know, I mean, I just feel like by ratio. That's all.
And you know another thing, that's they salute you and they respect you too, and that's what I respect about you. You can be from somewhere else, but it's okay to speak like clearly and honestly about other artists and MCs from different cities and states. But also, you mentioned Big. A lot of people don't realize Big, Notorious Big. He before, I think this was around the time either you started with him or before Mr. C.
Right.
Explain that whole relationship, because a lot of people don't really know. Even with the Little Kim and Foxy,
Right.
they was in your basement when they was at the heart or the height of that little bickering back and forth. So kind of.
Yeah. What happened was when I say we, I mean me and we started Junior Mafia.
Mm-hmm.
Big was with Mr. C first, because really C that discovered that
Right.
Big
Shout
Karan.
out to Mr. C.
And had an idea to do this group, Junior Mafia.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really theatrical idea. We really never got to do what we wanted to do with Junior Mafia. It took off so fast that it just got a little convoluted. But it was this really great idea that had theatrical for the whole Junior Mafia layout. Mm-hmm. He came to me because me and his brother Just used to live next door to each other, and I had the studio. Mm-hmm. And he was just like, yo, I want to put together this group. So I was like, you know, Junior Mafia. And I was like, who? Like, them little dudes that be hanging around with Big, because they used to all walk around like the neighborhood on Fulton Street, and they used to wear these bubble vests with like, they used to take the Boy Scout numbers, and they had 666 on. All of them had 666 on it. And I was like, them little dudes. He was like, yeah, and there's a girl.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then started bringing them down, and we started making records on them, and kind of figuring out what to do. At the same time, my man Paris and them had this other little girl, Inga. And they was like, yo, D, because I was the only one in the business. Like, everybody else is hustlers or whatever. So I was the only one in the business. So they like, yo, D, we want to do something with this girl. Man, they brought Inga down. Man, that little girl.
Foxy.
I mean, pound for pound, she's the better MC. I mean, there's not even a question as to whether or not Foxy could swipe Kim.
Spit.
And when I heard her, she was 15 years old. I couldn't even believe what she was sounding like. Like, it was crazy. And then, you know, so we put all that together. I had to stop the Foxy thing because she had a meeting with me in my studio, and she disrespected her moms in front of me. And I said, I can no longer deal with your project. I don't do that. But in them, I stayed with them because, you know, we was boys and we put it together. Kim actually ended up having the most tenacity out of them all. Like, I didn't think it was going to be like that, but Kim actually ended up wanting it more than all of them. I never thought it was going to be like that because she was so tame. She was so humble. The rest of them was, you know, they big boy C's and all of them. They, you know, noise making little boys and stuff. But Kim was mad serious about it. And the only thing, I guess it was right. Big used to always say, it's in the plan, Daddy-O. That's one thing he used to always say. My demos, if you hear my demos with Kim, she had a super deep voice, even deeper than Foxy. And when I wanted to put it out, Big was like, man, I can't let her come out sounding like a boy. And I was like, man, she'll crush everybody. He's like, no, Daddy-O, it's in the plan. Every time. I remember when he met Faith. I was like, you marrying her? He's like, it's in the plan, Daddy-O.
Shout out, Big. And a lot of you had your hand in a lot of deals and a lot of. First of all, for the people who don't know, he definitely produced one of my favorite, Top Billin'.
Yep.
And just let him know. Give him a brief, quick little rundown on this hit makeover. He had his hand involved.
I mean, sometimes I don't remember. I'll be having to have a paper in front of me. It's true.
Come on.
But yeah, Top Billin'. And you know, I work with a whole bunch of I work with a lot of genres of music. Cause what happened was this. When we started, when I say we, I just mean us and that whole hip-hop massive. When we started making records, people wanted our sound. So what happened is, Lisa Cortez, who's a filmmaker now, actually used to work at Rush. We was all managed by Rush Management. Lisa came to Russell and said, I have an idea to do another division of the management company that just manages the producers. She called it Rush Producers Management, and she grabbed all the producers out of every group. So that was me, Prince Paul, and DBC out of Stetsasonic, the Bomb Squad out of Public Enemy, and a few others that was around. I even think Grandmaster D was on that list from Houdini, but she was just pulling all of the producers out of the groups that we already managed, and she started to just farm and get us work. And so what happened with me was, I'm a musical dude, and most of the time, I'm the oldest guy in the room. Like, I'm older than Melly Mel. A lot of people don't know that. You know, I started my rap career as an adult. I'm just little, you know what I mean? So I get away with it. So when the offers came for the alternative music, I loved that music because I grew up on the B-52s. I grew up on the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like, I knew all of that. And nobody else in the production crew wanted to take it. So that's how I ended up working with the Chili Peppers, Sonic Youth, the B-52s, then and then you know, the connections that I would make. Like, I met Vivian Scott, and she was like, yo, you got to produce this next Third World record for me because you got those elements, but I don't want to make what I'm making on the rest of them. Like, you know, I want to make something that feel a little more authentic. So I ended up getting to work with, like, a lot of big acts. You know, Jeffrey Osborne. It was dope because, you know, yeah, all that.
Mary, a lot of your favorites that's going on now.
Oh, yeah.
And also, and see, you're a part of that other school where there was artist development.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And speak to that, what's kind of missing with some of these artists and not being groomed properly.
Yeah, it's tough. Like, I actually run my own artist development clinic now. It's hard because, and I don't blame the artists as much as other people do. These kids, most of them are left to their own devices. And that's just tough for you. You're young, you're talented, you're 19 or 18, maybe 20. You know how to rap, you know what I'm saying? But you don't really know the ins and outs of any of the business. You just know how to rap. You're going to do whatever is in your head or whatever your little friends tell you to do. But without somebody being there to tell you, maybe you should try this or you should know this one person. I always give Russell props for Russell and Gary Harris, God bless the dead, because they were the type of people that I would be in a building and they would say, Daddy-o, do you know so-and-so? I was like, look, you need to know Daddy-o. Y'all talk. You know, that went on all the time with us. So people were being introduced to people all the time. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like just because of interaction, LL ends up writing MC Light's verse on Self-Destruction. He wasn't really supposed to be there, but that's the way it was. Like, everybody's around, and that made it a big difference. These kids, they basically live their lives in a vacuum, and that's very tough.
Yeah, and that leads me to, even on your intro, I like that because you start that way and you say, like, they need to be reminded of who they are. And you also said something, I'm from that era too, where you, like you said, you would introduce people. It seemed like nowadays everybody try to keep everything boxed in and away from it. You're supposed to introduce them.
It's true.
And pass the torch properly, changing in the guards. But elaborate on that. You said something, your intro specifically, when you said about reminding them of who they are, where they come from, or you just kind of elaborate.
Well, when I was talking about it, I talk about Migos, I talk about Trippie Redd, like all the little guys I like. Like, I like them. I wish I would have been turned on to Young Dolph and Key Glock by that time. Their names would have been on my album too. But all the little guys that I like, I talk about them. But what I say is it's great for them. And I was actually talking about my album. It's great for them to hear it because then they could see where they come from. Because often they're not reminded of their origin. So if they think they started with Jay-Z, they're wrong. If they think they started with Biggie, they're wrong. If they think they started with the Ghetto Boys, they're wrong. Hip-hop started way before that. You know, I live in Houston now, so I be with Face. And, you know, Scarface gave me and Bismarck not too long ago a deep history of how, you know, he started. And then if you listen to My Mind's Playing Tricks on Me, that's the beat for Picking Boogers. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, he said, man, I always used to, you know, just watch y'all and just try to figure out what. So everybody came from somewhere. Just like in hip-hop, we came from somewhere. We didn't start rapping. We were listening to the Toasters like Yellow Man and Lone Ranger and all of those guys doing what they were doing. And then we was also listening on the other side to some of the things that were going on in disco. And that became what we are. But everybody has an origin. And often the young people, again, I don't blame it on the young people. I blame it on us. The young people are not reminded of their origin, so you don't end up getting prime stuff out of them because they basically think they start with Jay-Z.
Right. And also, the thing I love about you and respect about you is you even from the time when you were with Stetsasonic and still with Stetsasonic from the 80s to now, you continue to release consistently project after project after project, and your vocals are sharper, more precise. You know how some people rap from like legends, no disrespect to some of our legends and pioneers, but that it sound like they're dated.
It does.
You sound like you're sharper. Like the project you sent just now that we're about to get into. Like, speak to that also. You said something about you're going to nudge your peers, or just kind of elaborate on your whole theory of everything going on.
Well, just going on to the sharp, I always say blame it on T-Rex, right? You got to blame that on battle rap. Once I started listening to battle rap, I learned something different. I always tell people there's two different Daddy-O's, right? So the old Daddy-O, and there's no disrespect to him, I still love him, but the old Daddy-O could only listen to Melly Mel and the Furious Five, Kevin, the Fantastic Five, Busy, Mo D and Treacherous 3. That's what he had to gauge how good he was, or how you know, shout out to Grandmaster Caz and the Cold Crush. So that's the old Daddy-O. That's who he could listen to. The new Daddy-O gets to listen to Biggie. He gets to listen to Trippie Redd. He gets to listen to Juice WRLD. He gets to listen to the Key Glock and them. He gets to listen to Rakim, who wasn't out when I started. He gets to listen to, you know, anybody. I can study everybody now. But battle rappers showed me that words could do other things. That's why I hate when somebody says that battle rap is glorified poetry, glorified spoken word. It's not that. It's hip-hop. And it's so raw. And now I'm glad they starting to make records just to show. Because everybody's, oh, battle rappers can't make songs. And they showing them, because if you want to start getting into the grimy talk, nobody is grimier than battle rappers. Like, who's grimier than Arsenal? Nobody. Like, you know what I mean? So, but when I started seeing what they could do with their words, it sharpened me up. And the deal is this. At my age, I know I shouldn't sound like them. But I also know I shouldn't sound like To the Beat, y'all, you don't stop. So they help me formulate who I am. And I just need to be the OG in the room, right? I need to be the OG that when he walk in, you looking at his wrist, you seeing maybe some gators on him, whatever. You got on whatever you got on, your Yeezys, but they like, yo, Unc is fly. Like, that's the way it need to feel. And the music needs to feel the same way. Just, it needs to feel like OG music that's palatable, right? But you also understand that if you're a young person and you hear me, I can't do what he's doing, but he's fly in what he's doing.
Yeah, because you're relatable and you never miss a beat and you're in tune with what's going on from whether it's social media,
right?
Snapchat, the whatever's going on, you're right in the middle of it. And also you said something about you want to produce some of these other icons.
Well, not produce. I really just want to A&R.
Yeah.
I want to A&R records for my peers because I know how to make a Rakim album right now. Like, I'm not even... there's nothing cloudy about who makes the record for him. I can pick the producers. I know how to make a Cold Crush record right now. I know how to make a Houdini record right now. And I'm a producer, and maybe I produce and throw him a track or two, but it's not that I want to do it. I don't want to create the music. I want to hire the guys. You know, like I'll give you an example. I know, a lot of people might not believe this, but I know that I could get Rakim and Zaytoven in the studio, and everybody, including myself, would either quit rapping or we would start all over again. If I put Rakim and Zaytoven in the same studio, we would all have to reevaluate our lives. No, I'm telling you, we have to reevaluate our whole life, because now you're talking about supreme lyric skills with supreme musical skills. So that, and I still love Mike Will and Mustard and all of them, but this boy Zaytoven is a problem because he's classically trained. So he's a problem. He is a big problem. And so I might throw somebody else in there with him because he don't really know the breakbeat thing. So I might throw Marley in there with Zay, but then I'm done. And then I'm going back to figure out, okay, damn, Daddy, like, you understand what I'm trying to say? That's what I want to see my peers do. Rakim can make somebody reevaluate their life. Kane can make somebody reevaluate their life. Kaz can make somebody I'm talking about reevaluate your whole career. Am I really even doing this right? Because these boys, they a problem. But they can't stick with their old producers. they gotta get with these new cats and just bring them up to speed. I have a philosophy. It's called a nephew principle. Every rapper got a dope nephew. And so I started that way. Like even on all my first records when I started doing it in 2016, you hear my nephew Infinite, you hear me on a lot of his joints, and you know, in and out my records he'll be there because he showed me something else. And I got that, yo, Unc, that one's whack. And that's all I needed. Like, yo, you was cool, but that one, you know what I'm saying? So that's if we don't keep that generational thing together, it never really works out. It could work out for them because music has always been young. You go back to the Beatles, you go back to the Temptations, the Jackson 5. So music will be young with the young people and have an audience. But if we want this hip-hop thing to really, really thrive, we have to mix those generations because some of these guys ain't getting no worse. Like, no disrespect, I love Marley, I love Primo, I love Pete Rock, but what some of these new producers is doing is nothing short of genius. And they are getting better and better. Right. Mike Will's not going to get any worse. Mustard's not going to get any worse. These boys are putting out work. And once they develop, all they got to do really is go on YouTube and listen to some Marley Marl and listen to some Patrick Adams. When they figure out what we was doing and integrate that with what they do, it's going to be a problem.
It's a wrap.
So, that's all I want to do. I just want to A&R it because I feel like I do love us in a way, and this is no disrespect to young people, but I do love us in a certain way that sometimes you just got to say Rakim is better. Sometimes you just got to say KRS-One is better. I don't like to do that because I don't really like to, but...
You said that before too, and that's another trait that you have that other artists don't. Because you said you better than you said I beat everybody except KRS-One.
Right.
Kind of elaborate on that because they got that twisted. What you were saying.
Well, when I put out the album Everybody But KRS, I said, okay, Daddy, are you rapping again? Right? I hadn't made a record from '93. It was my last solo album. You Could Be a Daddy But Never Daddy on Polygram. So now Daddy on 2016, you rapping again. I believe that competition is the cornerstone of hip hop. So who can you beat and who can't you beat? So I lined up all my peers. And I'm just talking about making records right now. Who can you beat and who can't you beat? And I said, I could beat all my peers, but I can't beat Chris. Because Chris is too spontaneous. The rest of us got to sit down and figure out what we're saying. He doesn't.
He does.
Yeah, he's just blah, blah, blah. I did a show with him when I first released the album. I did a show with him in South Carolina and had him look at the crowd. Y'all give me 8 subjects.
I saw it.
And then he just killed it. Like a freestyle. It was about 4 minutes long. And I'm like, so that's why I said everybody but KRS. I mean, and I would challenge everybody on record. You know what I'm saying? But KRS. That's what I meant.
And also, did you see, it's that Wu-Tang story. Shout out to Wu-Tang. But we definitely need a Stetsasonic story. Like, I know you're working on books. I know you're working on a lot of stuff, but what do you think about the Stetsasonic story?
Well, I think it's dope. Like I talked to Delight about this. Delight came up with a title because Delight came up with the name Stetsasonic. So whenever I need titles, I always go to D or Paul. Even in records, I learned this stuff from them. I learned so much from the guys in my band. It's pathetic. That's who I am. I do have heroes, but I'm a makeup of those guys instead. I always say Stetsasonic got along because we was all mad scientists in one room. So Paul is some other kind of way. DBC is something else. Delight something else. Bobby's something else. Wise is another thing because he's, you know what I'm saying? And I learned from them moving around. Like a lot of people don't understand even how we put together our records. The beat for Sally was made by Fuquan. You never seen a record that says produced by Fuquan. But we left the studio, came back, he had that beat. Now me and Paul go to work and throw to some people don't like the way Sally in there, and Paul throw in those think from, you know what I mean? But we had the basic beat. So I learned all from them. And Delight came up with a title called The Making of the Band, The Making of the Hip Hop Band. And I think it's dope. But what he wants to do, I like. He said he wants to do something similar to a reality television show where we make little models of us. So a little Daddy-O, a little Delight, a little Prince Paul, and those people we mentor and then pull them together and literally make Stetsasonic
That's it.
2.0.
That's dope. I want to play some of your music. Can we get into some music with Ciroc Boy, DJ Diz, because we have your project here, From My Hood to You. And again, let's just get into some music real quick. I'm gonna take a break for a moment.
Yep.
For the artist, it means a totally different thing. It means something totally different if Trippie Redd is watching this, if Young Thug is watching this, if Lil Uzi Vert or Future or, is watching this, Migos is watching this, because now they can see where they come from. And they're not normally reminded. When last time somebody walked up to Migos and said, man, you know what? Y'all remind me of the Treacherous Three. Nobody does that. You see what I'm saying? But the point of the matter is that they don't get reminded of their origins. One of the biggest problems with some of the young people nowadays doesn't lie with them. It lies with their elders not saying anything to them.
Hush, hush, little baby, don't you cry.
I ain't making no noise.
Hush, hush, little baby, don't you cry.
Dope dealer.
Daddy works in a rock and roll band.
Yep.
Daddy works in a rock and roll band. Daddy works in a rock and roll band. He's a drummer man.
Here we go. Running the street, ain't even had kids. Pray for the folks, can't even have kids. I'm being watched and people saying,
He's a drummer.
cause I'm kicking snares the whole summer. Then I had kids, made me a sharpshooter. Mace left cooler, Shauna left looter. I'm hitting cymbals and toms, so people saying,
He's a drummer man.
like Biggie said, it's in the plan. Did a crash course, but didn't crash course. Might have took a loss, but I ain't never lost. Rapid fire repeat and people saying,
He's a drummer man.
play for my kids, but I ain't playing.
Daddy works in a rock and roll band.
Yep.
Daddy works in a rock and roll band. Daddy works in a rock and roll band. He's a drummer man.
Oh, Dad, truth,
Daddy works in a rock and roll band. Daddy works in a rock and roll band. Daddy works in a rock and roll band. He's a drummer man.
I took time off, I had to think a bit. Half y'all woke, the other half lit. I ain't shocked when people saying
He's a drummer.
they kick so hard it make you slumber. Family first, going beyond kin. Loyalty first, going beyond friends. BK best, I hear him saying,
He's a drummer.
I make hits, call me a hit man. Leading the band cause the leaders lead. Patching up holes because the streets bleed. I hear him loud and people saying,
He's a drummer man.
child protect or break a fool's neck. No love lost, but I done lost loves. Stay on guard, that's what the street does. Reasoning why the people saying,
He's a drummer man.
I'm in the band, I got the upper hand.
Daddy works in a rock and roll band.
Yep.
Daddy works in a rock and roll band.
Uh-huh.
Daddy works in a rock and roll band. He's a drummer man.
Let's go.
Daddy works in a rock and roll band.
Yep.
Daddy works in a rock and roll band.
Uh-huh.
Daddy works in a rock and roll band. He's a drummer man.
Producers Coalition, East New York.
It's
Brand Lover. Yep. Cops screaming, the block screaming, can't stop screaming. Daddy, 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 100K at her, bow tie tuxedo, gang, gang, no greed. We winning the creed. Cash rules everything around you. No wonder that they found you a victim of the Brownsville jokes. Next time, careful when you come round. Guys, I have you dumbfound. Ain't no thing is halfway crooks. We gon' pull your card, yo. We been on the yard, yo. East New York done made us strong. Brooklyn, not the yuppie Brooklyn, not designer Brooklyn. Brooklyn like a King Tut song. Chances, had a talk with Francis, like a praying mantis, tighter than a kung fu grip. Choices, creeping in your choices. We control the voices, making sure the block don't slip. Different, you can say we different. Probably call you average, acting like a savage. Civilized or uncivilized, like Fuquan say. Reputation thicker than a dock where the Nets play. Cops screaming, the block screaming, can't stop screaming. Daddy, 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 100K at her, bow tie tuxedo, gang, gang, no greed. We winning the creed. Cops screaming, the block screaming, can't stop screaming. Daddy, 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 100K at her, bow tie tuxedo, gang, gang, no greed. We winning the creed. Play races. We be in them places, angels' dirty faces. Al Capone is where we from. Usually, see this stuff in movies, thinking that you Gucci. Show you how the East was won. Rap God, they say I'm a rap God. I just praise the real God, never backing down the likes. Often, you can see us often. Suckers be exhausting, niggas just are not our type. Easy, need to take it easy. This my brother Easy, Eric Wright, stand up dude. And even though we playing when the East is in the house, we still boys in the hood when we in the mood. I can't figure by your outlook, we can see you stay shook. Maybe you should rent some cops. Tell you, always gonna tell you. East New York and Brownsville, we don't even know how to stop screaming. The block screaming, can't stop screaming. Daddy, 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 100K at a bow tie tuxedo. Gang, gang, no weed, we win the creed. Cops screaming, the block screaming, can't stop screaming. Daddy, 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 100K at a bow tie tuxedo. Gang, gang, no weed, we win the creed.
Here we go. Proof of concept. Ebony Chief Stat, ever the sure thing, never the cheap bet. Sound custom, never a preset. They wanna argue, they wasn't brief yet. Clear the cobwebs, clean the house good. Damn it, daddy is home, fix the neighborhood. Never took shorts, ain't taking none now. A generational king, I make your son bow. Don't sweat the drip, it's a Brooklyn thing. Shout out to Future and Thug, but I don't sing. I just rhyme tight, flow and rhyme right. And keep a dilly in the boot if they wanna fight. Might be an old head, might see me playing Travis, might see me playing Cole, might see me playing Savage. I try to tell cats, hip-hop will never die, and I remain to be one of the reasons why. Yep. Watch me, keep an eye on me. Watch me, keep an eye on me. Watch me, keep an eye on me. I heard a dirty rumor about the Migos. Keisha said it ringside to my man Los. Know what I do with rumors? I despise them. They be stories to destroy and do my people in. I'm about the unity, not the eulogies. I'm about that black worth, not the black hearse. Straight gangster with the heart of a Garveyite. Dr. King with the Tyson if you wanna fight.
They fear what they can't understand. I guess it's just a part of the plan. Been branded ever since beginning of man. It's all just a part of the plan. Killing our own and we can't understand. I guess it's all just a part of the plan. The world is yours in the palm of your hand. Young man, it's all a part of the plan. The pain's real,
The game's real,
the bar's hard,
the name's
and
text.
still, that boy died.
My condolences.
My boy cried.
What sense of holding it?
We live for money and balance, I ain't condoning it. To whom much is given, much required.
We call that ownership.
Stop holding on to the past, baby, I'm over it.
Live life fast, that's in the
We lose
crash.
control of it.
We wanna ball for chips, boning chicks and foreign whips.
Be conscious when the drama starts and the karma hits. I'm a survivalist.
The block's hot like lava pits.
Keep a llama tucked in my garments, my aura obvious. Guard body not with the nonsense.
Mind elevated,
After success since a child.
grind premeditated,
This for the youngest that rise.
and fam who never
What you
made it.
afraid of black man with a gun
Or one who's educated.
They fear what they can't understand. I guess it's just a part of the plan. Been branded ever since the beginning of man. It's all just a part of the plan. Killing our own and we can't understand. I guess it's all just a part of the plan. The world is yours in the palm of your hand. Young man, it's all a part of the plan.
Shortcuts never represent the long haul. Boutique flow, you never see it in the mall. Never see me with the squares at the lunch table. Stay out the range of my aim and do yourself a favor. Pee Wee Kirkland told me talking crimes on songs is telling. Ronnie Luke told me keep it quiet, don't be yelling. Cause I'm a OG, but I got OGs. Taught me to do my best, but ain't no guarantees. Guards up, ain't no telling what the whack do. All that frontin' and faking, they try to fool you. I seen New Yorkers move to ATL and play they bosses, and you believe them. You ain't took time to check they sources. What you saying, professor? I'm saying cats be capping. Say they was gangsters, but miraculously now they rapping. Man, ain't a gangster alive on a rap song. And if you heard it different, you must not.
You are now live in the mix with the future. What it do? Turn your radio up. DJ Diz, right here only on 8 Squad of Rebel Radio.
Yep. Oh, Dad Truth, I'm coming. Black Snow, coming for you. Professor Daddy-O, yep.
It's the Ciroc boy DJ
Aight, watch this.
Diz.
Watch this. You could take away all the credits, all the shine, take away all the smoke, I still be fire. Ain't no weapon made or formed that will be formed. Ever gonna stop this king? I weathered the storm. Blows y'all through, I took, made you look. Then I got hungry again, made me cook. Black Snow shot me a beat, I beat you. Kick, leaving holes to trace, I cleat you. Take away all the awards, I still be Lord. No studio in the crib, I still record. Blindsided once in the past, now I see. Used to feel like somebody else, now I'm me. Stakes gon' be high this year, you bet that. My flow gon' rival my pen, respect that. I got a secret weapon this year, her name L Jack. She scraped y'all off of the map, cause y'all dudes whack. Ain't no rhyming for free, think I said that. Sometimes I be throwing the jab, see where heads at. Intertwine into your crew, that's where feds at. Surveillance system, camera too, and they backpack. Take away all of the likes, and I'm still like Conrad Murray a case, cause I kill Mike. Counterpunch Andy Ruiz, cause I still fight. And no, I ain't the best to rhyme, but I rhyme tight. Closet full of Jordans, no sir, that's not me. Closet full of Bibles and Glocks, more likely. Larry Davis, Dual Hakeem dealt a bad hand. Did some smack the taste out your mouth, that was my man. Daddy-O can't be stopped, what I hear now. Used to think I wasn't a threat, but they fear now. Caught them sleeping while they was asleep. When they woke up, Fran dropped County of Kings and they choked up. East New York, all in the blood, all in the veins. Daddy-O and MC Delight, one in the same. Rush like Hollis crew, so we mad deep. Up front, dead in your face, we not creep. Take away the glitter and gold, I still won't fall. So anticipated the flow, need a drum roll. Hip hop never was dead, that's what Nas said. On and on, 3 steps ahead, I'm an old head. Now that I'm number 1 in my class, I can sleep good. Power and authority now, like a priesthood. Had to get ahead of my peers, so I wrote more. Who you voting in is the GOAT, you should vote more. Take away the OG stats, I'm a still Mac. Beat from Easy Mo or Premier, I'm a kill that. Beat from Large P or Pete Rock, I'ma let go. But right now, buckle your seats, me and Black Snow.
Eight Squad Rebel Radio. I am your host, Mecca Global, voice of the underdogs. First of all, where my man is DJ Diz, Ciroc boy DJ Diz. How you been all week? I'm sorry.
I've been all right. I've been okay. My son started school this past Monday, and on top of that, my birthday was this past
Virgo.
Sunday. So it was like, all right, so I celebrated my birthday, and then the next morning I couldn't stay up all night because I had to get ready for school. So it was like, I'll probably do something. I'll probably do something tonight. I might. I don't know.
And give him your social media, and also what about that record? Let him know about the music, cause he do his thing. Let him know what's going on with your music, the artists, and
yeah, most definitely. You can follow me on
situation.
Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. Yes, I do still use Snapchat sometimes. At DJ Diz 973. That's DJ Diz 973, and you can listen to any of my remixes. As far as reggae remixes, Jersey Club remixes, I'm
about to send you some acapellas then.
Yeah, I'm about to start putting up some hip hop beats too on there too on my SoundCloud. When you go to SoundCloud, you can search DJ Diz 862 because they took down my 9731. But I got another one, DJ Diz 862 on SoundCloud. All my remixes is up there. The same thing goes for YouTube as well. DJ Diz 973. So.
All right. Thank you. Pardon me. My apologies. But anyway, okay, back to you, Mr. Legend Daddy-O. Get into this project. Let them know where they can pick it up before we wrap up. We got about a good 8 minutes left, so just kind of.
So that last song,
Uh-huh.
they not gonna be able to get it because I just gave it to you.
I know. So
It's just
exclusive.
I played it for you and you liked it, so.
Oh, we got 20 minutes. Oh, okay.
But Zay, I give it to Zay and I give it to Diz.
DJ Diz.
Just
got
long
it.
as you know.
Yep.
But
That's on
I
his
mean
next
that's my
project.
this is what I said, right? The next album, not the one that's out now. I love the one that's out now, you know. My next album is gonna be called First Team, and I am attempting to be a lyricist. Now I've talked to some of my people and a couple of fans about it, like, oh, Daddy-O, you always was a lyricist.
We
I
got a
disagree.
Go ahead, we got a call
I
for you.
think Rakim's a lyricist. I think
Yeah.
Black Thought's a lyricist. I think Eminem's a lyricist. I think Razzcazz is a lyricist. I never looked at myself like that, but I'm attempting to do those kind of things with words on my next project.
Can you hear me? You got a call. It's not loud enough. How you turn this up? You know I'm team iPhone all day. Zay.
Talking, saying how much of you hear me?
We got a caller on the line for Mr. Daddy-O. Who is this on the line?
This Thurston Howard. I just heard Daddy-O talking how he's not a lyricist. I just had this conversation with him this week. Like, yo, you must be crazy, man. Like, yo, as far as the hip hop, the true fiends and people who live this and follow, you were always a massive lyricist, man. With the lyrics you brought to the table, like I said, I've studied every album you ever put out, man, and I could recite rhymes to you right now to show how much of a lyricist you are.
I appreciate it, my brother. The joint we're gonna do together. I'm gonna come in hard. Me and Thurston is doing a joint called "Educated by the Gods and the Dope Fiends." It's gonna be so crazy.
For those that don't know, that's
I
Thurston
don't
Howard.
know if they ready, brother.
Thurston Howard III, the originator of the low life movement. When you see all these people rocking polos, this is Thurston Howard III out of Brooklyn. So, what's the name of the record y'all gonna do together?
It's called "Educated by the God." I think we just gonna call it "Gods and Dope Fiends," but we doing a bunch of stuff together. Like we starting to put the plan together, me and him.
All right, Thurston, you still there?
Yeah, I'm listening.
All right, is there anything else you want to say to the legend?
You know, like I said, man, I'm a major fan of Daddy-O. I'm a major fan of Stetsasonic. And, you know, they still, in my book, have the biggest Brooklyn anthem ever. You know, the Go Stetsa.
Brooklyn.
Go Brooklyn. You know, the only thing that ever came close to that was MOP's Annie Up, you know. But I salute the whole step forever. You know, I follow them. I listen to them religiously. I still got all your tapes, not even the CDs, the tapes. You know, I still listen to all of them.
That's what's up.
You know?
So we gonna see each other soon, my brother, man. I thank you for calling in, man.
Yes. Thank you,
Yeah,
Thurston.
I'll probably be touching down at, you know, on the A real soon too, man. I might come out for AC3, so.
Okay, cool.
We can build.
All right, we'll link.
All right, that's love.
All right.
Salute,
Do your
Thurston
thing,
Howard.
Daddy-O.
Peace.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
All right, I love you. Thank you.
All right, no problem.
All right. Daddy-O, now going to speak, is there any moments in history, in hip hop history, like one of your fondest moments anywhere? Like, is there a song that came out like, damn, I should have been on that joint? Or
it's a bunch of, record wise, I could, it ain't even history. I wish I was on that London with Young Thug and J. Cole. Like, just crazy.
I like that.
You know what I'm
too,
saying?
and
So it ain't even got to be no history. Like, I could tell you records right now that I wish I was on. I wish I was on Turnpike Ike with Ross. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it don't have to be, but all throughout, I think the most records that really affected me in terms of like, damn, like this is really possible was a lot of Houdini's music. Because, one of the things that's very interesting about Houdini is that, I always say hip hop's two turntables and a microphone, and we were borrowing music, playing break beats and all of that. But Larry Smith, God bless his dead, was making original tracks on Houdini. So Friends is original, Freaks is original, all that stuff, 7 Minutes of Funk, it's all original. And Houdini just had a layout. There was actually Jalil just helped me write a song not too long ago. I got a project I'm doing on mental health, and Jalil helped me write it. He showed me what to do. But those Houdini records was those records that I was like, oh man, like that. And then a couple of Run records like Down Joe, I love that. You know what I'm saying? So a couple of Run records. But it was more Houdini than everybody else that I was just like. It's more records nowadays that come out that I wish I was on than like back in the days, because I like what some of these dudes is doing, and I just be like, oof, I had that joint. Ugh.
You mentioned something on one of your other interviews, because I know you always been a part of the digital, the tech world, and what's ahead, and you always have your finger on the pulse. You mentioned something. You said something about a focus group, and once the girls start watching movies on their phone.
Yeah, what I said is I had did a focus group once, and I asked the people in the focus group who would watch a full movie on a phone, and all the guys said yes, and all the girls said no. And I said, when we get to the point that girls will watch full movies on phones, that's when we know the digital revolution is in full effect. You know, because in the beginning, the phone was a part of our life, but part is the active word. Now it seems like the phone is all of our life. So it's a different flow. And so you have to, as a content creator, regardless of whether or not you're a rapper or whatever, but anybody creating content, we have to try to keep in mind what that is. So what I've been working on for the last few years is a process that I call continuum, which is how to keep people engaged in the long haul. It's something that television is trying to do, and they still don't know how to do it. They try to live tweet things, but they don't do it. So what happens is when a show closes down, it just disappears. And my whole thing is if they got their phone in their hand all the time, why are you disappearing? Because if they liked you so much that they watching you here, then why can't they continue some kind of way? So we've been working on that. I work with a bunch of software developers and stuff. So we've been just kind of working on that. But a lot of it is not so much the equipment, but it's really like kind of getting into, I always say this, all of this stuff is basically about behavioral science. I don't like it, but it's true. We have to figure out the science of how people behave. Like back in the day, we understood what it meant for somebody to go to Soul Shack, take the thing out of the wrapper, get back on the train, and put it in their Walkman. And we kind of made records thinking about that, right? Now you have to think about, okay, so how do you make records for the digital native? Because where are they accosting it first? Are they getting it from Spotify first? Or are they getting it from Boom? That's what makes me like the Rhapsody album so much, because it seems like there was somebody there, maybe Ninth Wonder, maybe her, maybe the other people. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying somebody that understood whenever this thing is unwrapped, this is the way they're gonna feel, and that's the way you want to do. Once they walk in your house, you want. And we tried to do the new album like that too, and I've been getting some good response. I talked to DJ A to the L, and he said, "Look, man, I'm not gonna front. I'm your man, but I kind of was expecting a couple of joints where I was just skip through, and I didn't. I didn't find any fillers. Like I literally listened to the album from beginning to end. I thought it worked like that. So that's the whole thing, is the behavioral science of how do you engage these folks where they continuously kind of do it. Because most, and this is no disrespect, I'm just calling it, most of the young people nowadays, they don't make music that engages for long periods of time. Yes, it's a splash when it drops, but then it's like even when Thug's album came out, I was like, okay, you missed the mark, because nothing on this album is like the London. That should have been the London 18 times or 12 times or 10 times. Then it's so funny, I said that to my little man Hasib. Then a week later, Young Thug comes out in the article saying he didn't like the album. Wow. And he's making a new one. But I'm just saying, we got to figure that out. I think Dolph and Key Glock do that pretty well on what they're doing, but we got to figure out how to keep it going.
And the reason, and that's important too, because you also said something, and this is something you've been involved in. Remember when you was doing something, you was working, I forgot where you were working, what label, and then you said you fell asleep, woke up. This was during Napster, and then the MP4, and then the whole revolution. Like, you see how hip hop has outgrown. I think hip hop is going to always keep growing, but just like that moment when that Napster, when you could kind of tell a story on that briefly if you want to, but you see how hip hop, I think, is superseded everybody's expectation.
It's true.
And a lot of times when the labels don't know what to do with certain artists and they don't know how to push them, and it kind of forced us to get independent labels, independent radio, independent TV or whatever, because it's going to continue to grow, and we definitely need to keep up. But kind of elaborate on the growth of everything. You can't just be rapping here, but hip hop is up here now.
Yeah,
it's like you gotta fuse it and marry it and match it.
I think part of what you're talking about is just that line that we use when we say necessity is the father of invention, right? So most of the time, and even in the very beginning with the turntables, we created things because that was just it was necessary for us to feel ourselves and do those particular things. I feel like we're progressive. I do feel like hip hop is very progressive. I do believe that. I say this all the time to young people. Everybody doesn't have to be behind the mic, right? So people could be there, and so we do need to be technologically involved because of our. Because of what we mean to people. Like, they kind of listen to us in terms of what we do. And that's us, whether or not we a cat like me that comes from my era or a new dude like Drake or Wayne, right? They listen to us. So our involvement with what happens technologically, I think is very, very important, because if we don't control that, I'm going to call it a narrative, but I really mean the flow of that. If we don't control the flow of that, then somebody else will control the flow of that for us, right? Because it's going to continue to progress. And so we just need to be a little bit more involved in that. Probably from, I would say, just out of my mind, probably primarily from the point of copyright, meaning, you know, we make properties that people want to use, whether they want to use it in commercials, whether they want to use it as, you know, we need to be the guy that when you start the phone, one of our songs comes up instead of something.
Yeah.
It needs to be whoop whoop
Right,
or something
it's
like
not
that.
a right.
Yeah, we need to figure out how to integrate ourselves in that.
And I think it's moving to that area, and I keep yelling at people about that too, because I keep saying use these sponsors, because first of all, hip hop is in commercials.
Right.
Hip hop is the leading thing to sell a product,
Of course.
whether it's beer,
Of
sneakers,
course.
liquors, clothes.
Yes.
And yet, meanwhile, we have our legends. Some of our legends not being taken care of properly,
Right.
but everybody else is benefiting off the back of hip hop. And I
Right.
said this over and over again. I think that right there. First of all, let me slow down for a minute. You need to be a part of everything that's going on.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of people need to be contacting you. In terms of when I see somebody in these other labels or other positions or whatever, they
Right.
need to have somebody like a Daddy-O or a KRS-One or
Right.
whoever. I'm sorry, pardon me. And got sidetracked. But anyway, just elaborate on key positions. And you also said something too. You want these artists to learn how to produce their own records.
Right.
You want them to you are a plethora of information and knowledge.
Thank
and
you.
You're welcome. And see, but anyway, let me let you talk, because I'm just talking
Well,
over you.
I mean, one thing I do believe, right? So I do believe principally in give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach him how to fish, he'll eat forever, right? So you know, in the past few years, and maybe even longer than few years, people try to lock people into things, right? Sign them to contracts, all of that kind of stuff, and not really show them how to do anything, but just say, hey, follow me, whatever, right? So then they're controlling the entire career of the person, and sometimes with artists, that's difficult, because then artists, it's like when I do artist development, I do artist development on the level of trying to find out what the artist has, not so much what I want to put into them, but what works for them. If I got somebody that looks like they don't want to run across the stage, they walk, then I create something for them that they can walk. I might even create something to them where they bring a bench on and do something, whatever. But I like to work with them as them, and I think that what has happened is that it's a very corny statement, but it's really true. You don't have people that care. And so what I mean by that is that Spotify is a cool company. We all, listen to it. But who in Spotify cares, right? Apple Music is cool, Amazon Music, but who cares? So when you're talking about one of us, KRS-One or Daddy or whatever, being in, it means that you put a care person in place, and then they kind of filter the difference. I did the same thing when I worked as A&R for Universal. I was the A&R guy, so I was the filter between the label and the artist to make sure things didn't get misconstrued. I mean, even with one artist, I literally had to ask, I told the artist, give the money back. And the record company was like, no, we don't want to take the money back. I said, no, these guys, you want to take the money back because you don't want to see what they're going to bring up here. But they wasn't doing the right thing. So basically, the advance they had, they gave it back to the label. But you know what? I kept the peace. And I didn't have to see a building get blown up. You know what I mean? But that's what I was. It was a liaison. I think that that's really the point, right? Is that they don't have care people in the positions of liaisons, and so people are kind of left to their own devices. And again, with young people, when you leave them to their own devices, they may be able to make money. That's not even the question. The issue is how long. The issue is ownership and longevity. You know, can they own their properties, whatever that is, copyrights, whatever, publishing, whatever, merchandising, you know, whatever. Can they own that? And then can that be a conduit for you know, that goes on and feed their kids?
Exactly. Give them your website, where they can purchase your album.
So I'm on all digital platforms, but all the ones that Mecca mentioned earlier. But I would much prefer you to go to my Bandcamp, which is professordaddio.bandcamp.com, to get the record. And then all over the internet, I'm just Professor Daddio, one word. I'm blaming that on MC Light for saying Daddio school him some more. So I just put the professor in front of my name to school y'all. So I'm Professor Daddio everywhere. You know, I think I'm more active on Instagram than any place else, but people do, you know, we do have some great conversations on my Facebook page, because I do things on my Facebook page that I don't do on Instagram. You know, we battle out all those, when those lists come out and all that, we battle all of that. So we do that.
A tour coming up.
Oh yeah, and then Stetsasonic is doing the first half of our European run starting on next Thursday. So that's part of the reason I'm up north, is because we're doing we got rehearsals. And then I'm shooting a video. I'm actually shooting a video for the Smith & Wesson record on Monday. Yeah, so
shout out to Tech.
Yeah.
Is there any wise words you would like to leave with some of these artists before we wrap this up?
I mean, I say the same thing all the time. Learn how to do as much as you possibly can on your own. The only thing I don't suggest that you do, unless you're going to go to law school, is the legal stuff, because you could really mess yourself up trying to do legal stuff and don't know it. But learn how to do stuff. Just, you don't have to be the greatest producer in the world, but at least learn what the equipments do and the you know, turning the buttons. Just learn, you know, whatever. And I mean, I'm always available. I mean, it's a shameless plug, but I do an artist development clinic. In most cases, I'm reasonable, and all of that is part of like my, you know, I do the music business 101 in the clinic. So I show you how to fill out your forms and all of those particular things, in addition to, you know, the stage performance and all of those particular things. Because, you know, a lot of people don't know, and it's much better to spend a little money on hiring a guy like me up front and kind of having a good trajectory than messing up a whole bunch of money, listening to a whole bunch of people that don't know what they're doing, or just think that they could Google every answer, and then having to come to me later, because then when you come to me later, you're like, oh, I only got half the budget because I spent it. And I'm like,
And you're a part of the culture. So you, and there's a difference between like legends and pioneers, and we do use that word legend. You are actually a part of the pioneers from the 80s.
Oh yeah, we come down.
Up to now.
Yeah, I'm right after Mel and Kaz and them. So, I mean, I'm right there. And one of the cooler things about me, guys like me, Chuck D is one of my best friends. One of the cooler things about guys like me and Chuck D is that as much old school hip hop as we are, meaning the guys who made records in the parks, I mean, made routines and stuff in the park before they came records, is as much new school as we, because we came in as the recorded medium came in, so we kind of understand both sides, and that's just important, because you know, when we took that jump to become recording artists, it became a whole nother thing, which is why a lot of us got jerked in the beginning or whatever, because we didn't know what we was doing. But you know, it's important to understand what that means to be a recording artist, and even, you know, some of the other things that, you know, the digital properties. I mean, that's what I do in the clinic. I talk about all of that, you know, how social media has become a part of it. But, you know, some people don't even use their social media right, because they just looking at somebody else, and so you know, so that's welcome. But like I said, Professor Daddy all the way. The .com should be up probably next week. I mean, you know, you won't see anything there now because we're rearranging some of the .com. We've been getting a lot of good response on the album, so we just been really concentrating on that and trying to finish. You know, we done shot 7 videos already, so we're gonna shoot a few more. Probably at the end of this exercise, we'll have a video for every song on the album. Anything else you want to clear up? Any? Because you say a lot of stuff. Yeah. You always spark the internet on fire. So concerning my brother Rakim, I see a lot of the people, especially in the Doggy Diamonds interview, I see a lot of people come up and say, man, him and Rakim must have had beef in the past, man, because he's been hating on Rakim for a long time. First of all, me and Rakim never had any beef. I had a short beef with Eric that we cleared up really quick. It had nothing to do with Rakim. I knew Rakim since him and Bismarck, he was on tapes together and Wine Dance. But I don't have anything against Rakim. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the greatest to ever do it. I do want to make records on Rakim. And I nudged him a little bit. I nudge him a little bit because he ain't making nothing. You know, he made that little thing on Luke Cage. That's just a tease for us. It's an appetizer. Like, what's up?
Whatever.
You know what I'm saying? So we just want to see that because I really want to shock the world with, and it took me a long time to get to this point, but I really want to shock the world with classic hip hop. In the beginning, it was so funny. I got some people in my life that love us. And in 2006 and 2007, I used to argue with two particular friends, one girl, one guy. And I said, man, you love old school. Man, ain't none of that old school, man. Why you always love us? Why you always trying to do stuff with us? Like, forget us. We finished. That old time ain't coming back. And then once I started rapping again in 2016, I started realizing who we really were, right? And I'm like, so now I'm kind of on a mission for this classic hip hop just to show who we are. And I feel like if we rhyme now, especially, and if they got to take the same steps I took them, watch battle rap, whatever they have to do to get to that point, I think the world changes in a different way. I think they have to create a classic category in Billboard for classic hip hop. I think they have to create a Grammy for classic hip hop. I want to see that because I don't like the way it looks when we come around. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they just look at us. Everybody but Doug's the only one they look at and bow.
Yeah.
The rest of us, they don't bow to
I was
us.
about to say that because y'all are our icons.
Right.
Like just every other genre, they have the Beatles. They have
Yeah.
y'all are our Beatles.
Yes.
The Run DMCs from
It's true.
you all the way on. The Run DMCs, the Public Enemies,
Yes.
the Stetsasonic.
Yeah.
So y'all name up there. Like, and
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's our own people too. Go ahead.
Well, it's us being current, right? The reason people love Dougie is because Doug stays so current. So he might not even put out a record, but then them little boys made that Teach Me How to Dougie thing and all that. Then, got the president of the United States doing the Dougie dance. You know what I mean? But he's always active, right? He's always active. He's either hosting a Tom Joyner cruise or doing something at BET. So I always say Dougie knows how to wear his celebrity better than any of us.
Nah,
you know what I mean?
well.
But so I think we need to learn how to wear that celebrity as well. But I think the way the rest of us get it, because he is the greatest entertainer in the world, right? I mean, it's no question.
Yeah.
So he can do that because he's the greatest entertainer in the world. The rest of us fall below the category of the greatest entertainer in the world. So they know us, and this is what I had to realize. They know me because I'm a rapper. No disrespect to no disrespect to my prowess, my intelligence, or whatever. But I started rapping again because they know me as a rapper, and the rap just gets me in play. I'll give you an example. I'm going to Amsterdam in a week, but I'm doing a lecture before the Stet show. Now, just being brutally honest and transparent, I'm making more money from that lecture than I'm making from that Stet show.
That's horrible.
You see what I'm trying to say? But the point of the matter is that the rapping gets me there, and then I could do whatever else I need to do. And so that's all I'm saying. If we rap a little bit, we could get more out of that. Because if Kane puts out a record right now, everybody wants to interview him. He's on television. And it's just because of the record. If he doesn't, then Jimmy Fallon ain't really messing with him. But if there's a brand new Big Daddy Kane record, hint, hint, produced by Questlove, hint, hint, you know what I'm saying? then he's on Fallon tomorrow.
DJ Diz. That's true. Okay. So one final words, because this is really we wrapping it up. But any final words?
No, I appreciate coming. I always love coming to Rebel Squad Radio.
A Squad Rebel Radio.
A Squad Rebel Radio. I always love coming up here. Shout out to my man Zay. No, I mean, I just love coming up and, spitting it and get the album going. Hey, look, if there's any final words, go to the Bandcamp, ProfessorDaddio.bandcamp.com, and get the album. You won't be disappointed. I even got some specials up there because all of the records up there, so you could get 10 pieces of content for $30 or less, and you get all the albums, and there's some gems on, all the stuff I've been doing since 2016.
Thank you. And shout out to DJ Diz, Ciroc Boy DJ Diz. Thank you so much. Thank you, Daddy-O. And
You're
shout
welcome.
out to 8 Squad Rebel Radio. Follow me on Instagram, social media at Mecca Global. And again, salute to the legend Daddy-O. I'm proud of you. And we need to take better care of all of our legends, not just one or two.
Oh, yeah.
And the jewel of the day is make sure you checking on your older family members. Check on all your elders in your family. Make sure they got food, medicine, all that.